Fox News alert on the man suspected of planting bombs around New York and New Jersey. Ahmad Khan Rahami is still in the hospital after yesterday's shootout with police. He's charged with the attempted murder of those officers. Federal prosecutors are still weighing charges connected to the bombings that injured 29 people. Meantime, Donald Trump is speaking out against the treatment the suspect is getting.
Now we will give him amazing hospitalization. He will be taken care of by some of the best doctors in the world. He will be given a fully modern and updated hospital room. And on top of all of that, he will be represented by an outstanding lawyer. His case will go through the various court systems for years, and in the end, people will forget, and his punishment will not be what it once would have been.
Meantime, Senator Lindsey Graham wants Rahami to be treated as an enemy combatant for intelligence gathering purposes. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano says that cannot happen.
Stripping a person of due process is catastrophic and prohibited by the Constitution. So yes, the idea that we have the natural right to due process, essentially fairness from the government, a jury trial, and all the protections that the Constitution provides, and those rights can't be taken away from us because we're hated or feared. But if every time somebody attacks us, we strip them of their civil liberties, we don't have any liberties left ourselves.
Wow, such an important point. But people do wonder, how will he be treated? He is going to get our best medical care.
Well, and he's going to get full due process as long as the Obama administration is in office. But I think Lindsey Graham has raised a critical point. You know, there's no due process on the battlefield in Afghanistan or in Iraq. When you're against the enemy, whether they're American citizens or not, you don't read them their Miranda rights. So for this guy, Rahami, I'd have two questions. Number one, did he procure his citizenship fraudulently? We don't know, but the naturalization oath says you have to give up all fidelity and allegiance to all foreign powers and states and potentates.
How do they prove that, though?
Very sweeping. Well, there's a lot of fraud in citizenship applications going back to people coming out of the Holocaust where they denied any affiliation with Nazism. So I want to know a little bit more about what he said on the citizenship application. Number two, you can renounce American citizenship by engaging in conduct with our enemies, by going on the battlefield. And I would argue that the terrorism battlefield is all around the world. It's not front lines in Europe in World War I. It's all over the world. So Lindsey's raised an important point.
So that's what I want to ask you next. You know, is this the battleground? You hear certain leaders saying, we are, in fact, at war. Stop saying that we're not, we are. So if that's the case, then the homeland is the battleground. I mean, doesn't that count for how we treat these guys? Wouldn't we automatically call him an enemy combatant if we catch anybody doing homegrown terror? Otherwise, why call it terrorism?
Yeah, and it's not to say we're renouncing our constitutional system or renouncing the rule of law. We're in a different paradigm. This is not like knocking over the local Starbucks. It's not the law enforcement paradigm. It's the paradigm of the law of war.
But let's go back to Governor Andrew Cuomo's comments saying, welcome to America. This is the way we do things. You're innocent until proven guilty. Let's not lose ourselves in an effort to protect ourselves. Fair point?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. It's not the point I want. I'm all with Lindsey Graham on this. I think these people are animals, and we need to set a precedent that, yeah, maybe if you're going to do this, you should be treated in a different way, and you shouldn't have any civil liberties. You certainly didn't care about mine or any other Americans, and I agree with you. I think it's time to evolve on the way that we approach this, and people like this, like you said, he certainly didn't consider himself an American, so why should I?
Well, and my understanding was a U.S. citizen could be tried as an enemy combatant if they take up arms against the United States, which certainly seems like that's what happened. He traveled to Pakistan, Afghanistan. Clearly, we're learning more about that. We don't have all the information in front of us. But this is something we better figure out now sooner than later, because we do have these lone wolf attacks or small group attacks that we haven't necessarily seen in the past. And we've seen it in Minnesota and New York and New Jersey just recently. So we better figure this out.
So they know they have some problematic imams, which was how it was put to me on the right along with the police department up in Minneapolis. And so you've got these imams. They're being radicalized here. What difference does it make if they're radicalized over there or
100%.
here?
No, it makes no difference at all. And it's a demonstration these are not lone wolves. They're getting material over the internet. They're talking to the mullahs. They're talking to their community. It happens in a lot of different ways. It's not like spontaneous combustion. That's not how it happens.